Ever pondered why North Korea is the hardest country to escape from? Welcome to a journey that explores the mysteries of one of the most isolated and secretive nations on the planet, North Korea. Let's start with a bit of geography. Nestled in the eastern part of the Asian continent, North Korea is bordered by China to the north, Russia to the northeast, and South Korea to the south. The Yellow Sea and the Sea of Japan form its western and eastern coasts. This geographical location, marked by vast mountain ranges and narrow valleys, makes it not only naturally isolated but also incredibly difficult to traverse. Now let's touch upon the political system of North Korea. It's a totalitarian state ruled by a single party, the Workers' Party of Korea. The country's political structure, characterized by absolute control and authority, has been under the Kim dynasty since its inception in the mid-20th century. This system has resulted in an environment of strict surveillance, control, and limited personal freedoms. North Korea is often referred to as the Hermit Kingdom, due to its self-imposed isolation from the rest of the world. The government's strict control over information flow, both within the country and across its borders, has contributed to this isolation. The country's citizens have limited access to global news, internet, and foreign media. This lack of information makes it even more challenging for North Koreans to plan a successful escape. Moreover, North Korea's economy, heavily centralized and state-controlled, has led to chronic economic instability and widespread poverty. The scarcity of basic necessities and opportunities, coupled with the fear of punishment, adds another layer of difficulty for those aspiring to escape. In a nutshell, North Korea's geographical location, its political system, the government's control over information, and the economic conditions all contribute to making it one of the most challenging nations to escape from. Now that we've set the context, let's delve into the factors that make escape from North Korea so difficult. Stay tuned as we unfold the complexities of life in the Hermit Kingdom. North Korea shares borders with China and South Korea, both heavily guarded, but why? Well, let's delve into that. North Korea's borders are not just lines on a map. They're tangible, formidable obstacles bristling with military force. The country maintains an enormous military presence at these borders, with tens of thousands of troops stationed round the clock. This is not just a show of strength, but a clear message to any who dare to cross. The consequences will be severe. These borders are also reinforced with physical barriers that would make even the most determined escape artists think twice. Imagine trying to scale electric fences, knowing that one misstep could be fatal. Picture navigating a field littered with landmines where every step could be your last. And if that's not daunting enough, there are also towering walls, tall enough to blot out the sky, a grim reminder of the isolation imposed by the regime. But brute force and physical barriers are not the only tools in North Korea's border control arsenal. There's also a sophisticated surveillance system in place. This isn't your average neighborhood watch. We're talking about cutting-edge technology, thermal imaging, night vision, and motion sensors, all designed to detect any movement, anytime, anywhere. And let's not forget the human element. Informants and border guards ready to report any suspicious activity. All these measures create an almost insurmountable barrier for those hoping to escape. The borders are more than just physical boundaries, they're psychological ones too, instilling a deep-seated fear of the unknown, of what lies beyond. For many, the thought of attempting to cross is simply unthinkable. So, the first major hurdle for escape? A heavily fortified border. It's a grim reality that makes North Korea one of the hardest countries to escape from, a testament to the lengths the regime will go to keep its citizens within its iron grip. But as we'll see in the next scenes, this is just the beginning of the challenges faced by those brave enough to attempt escape. Imagine living under constant surveillance. In North Korea, this is a reality. Let's delve into this a little deeper. Picture a society where an intricate web of watchful eyes permeates every neighborhood. This isn't a scene from a dystopian novel. It's an everyday reality for North Koreans. The country operates an extensive internal surveillance system designed to monitor and control its citizens. But how does this system work? Well, it's more localized than you might think. North Korea has established what are essentially neighborhood watch systems known as Inminban. These are small residential units, usually comprising of 20 to 40 households, each managed by a local leader. Now you might be thinking, that doesn't sound too bad, right? But here's the kicker. These Inminban aren't just for organizing local events or helping out in the community. Their main role is to keep an eye on their neighbors, reporting any suspicious activity to the authorities. So, what counts as suspicious activity? Well, anything that deviates from the strict norms and regulations set by the state. This includes activities like watching foreign films or, most critically, planning to escape. Imagine living in a world where your every move could be reported, where your neighbors are incentivized to spy on you, and where even the smallest signs of rebellion are harshly punished. The penalties for attempting to escape are severe, ranging from internment in political prison camps to, in extreme cases, execution. And it's not just the person trying to escape who suffers. North Korea operates under a policy of 3 generations of punishment, meaning that if you're caught trying to flee, your family, including your children and grandchildren, will also face retribution. This creates an atmosphere of fear and distrust, where people are too scared to even think about escaping, let alone actually attempt it. The surveillance system is not just about monitoring people's actions, it's about controlling their thoughts and instilling fear. In essence, the fear of punishment makes even the thought of escape terrifying. Information, or rather the lack thereof, is a powerful tool in North Korea. Imagine living in a world where the information you receive is tightly controlled and curated by the powers that be. This is the reality for the citizens of North Korea. The North Korean government maintains an iron grip on all sources of information. Every newspaper, every radio station, every television program, they are all state-owned and state-run. This means that the government decides what kind of news and information is disseminated to the public. But the control doesn't stop there. The internet as we know it, a vast global network of information, is virtually non-existent in North Korea. Instead, they have a tightly controlled national intranet, a closed network that only provides access to state-approved content. Foreign media is also strictly prohibited. You won't find international news channels or foreign films airing on North Korean television. Even foreign books and magazines are rare commodities, most often smuggled into the country and passed around in secret. This extreme level of information control has a profound impact on the way North Koreans perceive the world outside their borders. Without access to unfiltered information, their understanding of the outside world is largely shaped by the state propaganda. They're told that North Korea is a paradise, while the rest of the world is portrayed as dangerous and hostile. This manipulation of information serves a purpose. It reinforces the authority of the ruling regime and discourages any thoughts of defiance or escape. After all, why would you risk everything to flee to a world that you've been told is full of hardship and danger? It's a powerful form of psychological control, creating a barrier as formidable as any physical wall or border. When you have no idea of what lies beyond, the unknown becomes scarier than the known. This is the power of information control in North Korea, a chilling testament to the lengths a regime will go to maintain its grip on power. Poverty and economic instability, another chain binding the North Korean citizens. Imagine trying to plan an escape with an empty stomach and an empty wallet. That's the reality for many North Koreans. The economic situation in the country is dire. The World Food Program estimates that over 10 million people, that's nearly 40% of the population, are undernourished. North Korea's economy is tightly controlled by the state, with most of its resources funneled into military development. This leaves little room for investment in sectors like agriculture, leading to chronic food shortages. The country's economic isolation, due to international sanctions, only exacerbates the situation. Now let's think about how this impacts an escape plan. First, there's the cost of the journey itself. It's not just a matter of crossing the border. Many defectors have to travel through China and then on to a third country, as China often repatriates North Koreans. This journey can cost thousands of dollars, an unimaginable sum for most North Koreans. But it's not just about the money, there's also the question of resources. Planning an escape requires access to information, connections, and supplies, all things that are hard to come by in a country where the average monthly income is just $50. And then there's the human cost. Many who try to escape leave family members behind. These families often face severe punishment. So, even if someone can scrape together the resources to escape, they have to weigh that against the potential harm to their loved ones. It's a bleak picture, but it's one that's important to understand. The economic barriers to escape are high, and they're just one piece of the puzzle. North Koreans face a complex web of challenges that make it incredibly hard to leave the country. So, even if they wanted to, many simply can't afford to escape. International politics play a crucial role in the North Korean escape saga. The crisscrossing lines of alliances, interests, and diplomatic considerations often become invisible walls that further confine the people of North Korea. One of the biggest challenges facing North Korean defectors is China's policy of repatriation. As North Korea's largest trading partner and closest ally, China has a long-standing practice of sending North Korean defectors back, viewing them not as refugees seeking asylum, but as economic migrants. This policy has been widely criticized by human rights groups, but despite international pressure, it persists. The prospect of being caught and forcibly returned is a major deterrent for those contemplating escape. But why does China do this? The reasons are manifold and complex, rooted in a blend of historical ties, economic considerations, and geopolitical strategy. China fears a collapse of the North Korean regime could lead to a flood of refugees across their shared border, creating a humanitarian crisis and destabilizing the region. Moreover, the fall of North Korea could potentially lead to a reunified Korea under South Korean leadership, which would place a US ally right on China's doorstep, a scenario Beijing is keen to avoid. Beyond China, the international community's response to North Korean defectors is tepid at best. Many countries are hesitant to accept North Korean refugees due to diplomatic reasons, especially those with diplomatic ties to Pyongyang. They fear retaliation from North Korea, or straining relations with China, who might see their acceptance of defectors as an affront. The world of international politics is a high-stakes chess game, and unfortunately North Korean defectors often find themselves to be pawns. Their dreams of freedom are hindered not only by the oppressive regime they're trying to flee but also by the complex web of international relations that offers little support or sanctuary. The lack of a safe haven further complicates the escape process. So, escaping North Korea isn't just about crossing a border, it's a perilous journey fraught with obstacles. Let's take a moment to recap the journey we've embarked on today, through the labyrinthine complexities that make North Korea the hardest country to escape from. We began our exploration with an introduction to North Korea. We glimpsed a society where the everyday life is far removed from the world outside. A place where the government's influence seeps into every corner, from the tallest skyscraper to the humblest dwelling, leaving little room for dissent or dreams of escape. We then delved into the ironclad border control that North Korea maintains. The heavily fortified borders, the vigilant guards, the treacherous terrain, all these form a formidable barrier, making any attempt to escape a dangerous venture. And that's only the physical aspect of it. The fear of getting caught, the potential reprisals on family left behind, these add a psychological dimension to the challenge. We also took a look at the pervasive surveillance and control that the North Korean government exercises over its citizens. From the ever-watchful eyes of the state, to the tangle of social controls and the culture of mutual suspicion, these factors make even the thought of escape a risky proposition. Our journey continued with a look at the information control in North Korea. How the government, by controlling the flow of information, creates a worldview that discourages escape. The lack of exposure to the outside world, the relentless propaganda, these combine to create a psychological barrier that's as formidable as any physical wall. We also examined the economic barriers that would-be defectors face. The crippling poverty, the lack of resources, the risks involved in securing the funds needed for escape. These challenges make the journey out of North Korea a Herculean task. Finally, we explored the role of international politics in making North Korea a difficult country to escape from. The geopolitical factors, the complex relations with neighboring countries, the lack of global consensus on how to handle North Korean defectors, all these contribute to the obstacles faced by those who dare to dream of freedom. In the end, it's about overcoming not just physical barriers but also psychological ones. That's what makes escaping North Korea a feat of extraordinary courage and determination. The journey out of North Korea is a testament to the indomitable human spirit, a reminder that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds, the yearning for freedom can drive people to achieve the extraordinary. It's a journey fraught with danger and uncertainty, but also one that holds out the promise of a better life beyond the borders.